Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight in our news.
The transport minister reveals the new date for post office workers to move to their new location.
The POP chairman says the party has no confidence in the police force to investigate the NSA audit under the leadership of Marvin Dames.
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News, and thanks for joining us. I'm Jared Higgs. Topping news tonight, Progressive Liberal Party Chairman Fred Mitchell is casting doubt on the police force's ability to independently investigate the findings of the audit done by Auditor General Terence Bastian on the National Sports Authority. In an interview with Our News, Mitchell called it impossible that the government could award a contract for major work of the sort and there be no proof of the work done. Kyle Joaquin has more.
I would put my head on a chopping block on this one.
The POP chairman says the party is resolute in its belief any investigation by the Royal Bahamas Police Force in these circumstances will be tainted by political bias.
The net result is that there is no PLP supporter today that has, and I speak with absolute confidence on this, that has confidence that there is going to be an independent, impartial, nonpartisan report, particularly with Marvin Dames as the Minister of National Security. Marvin Dames and his colleague have been judicially condemned. We asked the Prime Minister to dismiss him because he refuses to resign. And so in those circumstances, how can anyone have confidence when we know what a magistrate of the courts has already said about his conduct in a case?
The report, which was tabled in the House of Assembly last week, covered the period from July 2011 to December 2017. The report, compiled by Auditor General Terence Bastian, revealed the NSA paid a consultancy company over $1.1 million for services that were never performed.
It is impossible for $1 million to be paid out from any department of the government of the Bahamas without the proper paperwork. I put my head on a chopping block. It cannot be done, and there is absolutely no way I would believe that it could be done. Cannot be done. So the paperwork has got to be there.
The report also highlighted questionable spending of petty cash on dry cleaning, snacks, and passport and visa renewals. The Prime Minister has since turned the report over to the police, but that's not sitting well with the opposition.
We're not saying that the Auditor General is part of any conspiracy or the police are part of any conspiracy. What we know is that this is a narrative which is designed by the FNM for political reasons, and therefore it has no bona fides as far as we're concerned.
Now, during our interview, we also asked Mitchell about the former Youth, Sports and Culture Minister's response to the actual audit.
Don't put no nonsense out to the public. You think Danny Johnson might teach him one man kiss, man.
Danny Johnson, who served as Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture when the contract was awarded, said there is paperwork to give an account for the NSA's spending. He asserted that he's no thief, but Johnson also got very defensive, at times using profanity. Here was Mitchell's response.
There's a philosophical difference. See, and don't get mixed up with the language. Some people said, oh, he said these bad words and so on and so forth. Don't get mixed up in that foolishness, right? If someone is denying that there is any wrongdoing, is laying out a case, don't get mixed up in the language. What are the facts?
For Our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Government has spent $200,000 thus far to outfit the town centre mall for the relocation of the General Post Office, though the mall's owners, who include Financial Services Minister Brent Simonet, footed the bill for the renovations. Transport Minister Renward Wells says government had to pay to install certain necessities. Wells added work on the rental space is now 99% complete. Jillian Gray reports.
First, it was Christmas 2018.
The General Post Office will be relocated to Town Centre Mall before the end of the year.
Then it was January.
We've had to relook at the design for the post office. So now our timeline is more the 1st of January for the move to take place.
Following that, the deadline was pushed to February. And now, after several failed deadlines, the Transport Minister says he's certain that post office workers will be in their new space at Town Centre Mall next month.
I've given at least 3 different timelines as to when the post office was going to be open. And we have had extension in time
mainly due to a number of factors.
Wells blamed the delay on the new post office boxes as well as the need for a complete redesign.
We are looking for a complete move, and this is the final timeline date for the post office. We are looking for a complete move the third week in May for all of the post office staff to be in the town center mall.
Just 2 weeks ago, members of the opposition attempted to tour the space. At the time, reporters glimpsed the area, which was nowhere near completion. Today, the transport minister insisted construction is about 99% complete. And while the construction bill is being footed by the landlords, government has spent approximately $200,000 to outfit the space.
What they saw, as I said earlier, there were aspects of the post office that could not be completed because we needed to have the boxes installed. When they were there, the boxes were still in boxes. We installed those boxes in a matter of 2.5 days over a weekend. So the boxes are completely installed. The executive offices are done, the post office boxes are in, the warehouse is completed, the air conditioning unit is in, the electricals are installed, the cafeteria is up and running, the post office bank has been up and running.
Now, staff at the General Post Office have been on half day for several months now, which has resulted in mounting piles of mail. And according to the transport minister, that backlog is not going to be an easy fix, as he says the post office is poorly staffed.
We're looking as to, in the new budget period, bringing in the requisite new staff into the post office, both in the executive leadership as well as the line staff of persons. So we're going to requisitely staff the post office.
Wells also hit back at Anglican MP Glenys Hannah Martin, who asserted that mail had not been delivered to the Family Islands for the last 3 weeks.
She needs to tell you who advised her, because I don't know. I know of not of what she speaks.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Gillian Gray.
Nearly 5 years after the last Christie administration awarded a $20 million contract for the construction of a new building to house the Ministry of National Security, that building remains vacant. However, National Security Minister Marvin Dame says the building will not be empty for much longer. Jasmine Brown tells us more.
Our news team gained surprisingly easy access to that property via a dirt access road that was littered with debris and garbage. The multi-story building, which is located west of the Paul L. Adderley building that houses the Attorney General's office, was budgeted at $20 million when a contract was signed with Holiday Industrial Builders in 2014. At the time, then Minister of Housing Shane Gibson told the Nassau Guardian that the new building will house the Ministry of National Security and administrative staff from the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. He also said it would be constructed with National Insurance Board money and take under 2 years to finish. But fast forward to nearly 3 years later, the building remains vacant. The National Security Minister says the delay under the Minnis administration is not deliberate, adding there were issues with construction.
A lot of issues in relation to that building. Just had to be fixed, had to be repaired, had to be brought up to standards.
Holiday Industrial Builders, headed by Lloyd Smith, was the same company that was fired under the Ingham administration after government officials said the Paul L. Adderley building was plagued with numerous problems and delays. We did contact Holiday Industrial Builders head offices yesterday, and we were referred to Mr. Smith, who declined to respond to the minister's claim that they were not satisfied with the work to date. At the site, work has come to a standstill with abandoned scaffolds and piled up construction debris, and inside the building are empty office spaces. Dame says they won't be empty for much longer.
We're hoping to get in there by June or July.
However, before that can happen, he says they will need to furnish that space.
We're happy with where we are now. We've been working with the respective stakeholders since coming into office, and we're pleased in respect to where we are now.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
After nearly a year of not paying taxes, government has started collecting revenue from gaming operators. The two recently reached a consensus over a hike in taxes to the industry, and Minister responsible for gaming, Dionisio de Aguilar, said by June 30th, all operators should be up to date with payments.
For the period July through December 2018, the gaming houses are now paying those taxes. So in January, or let's say in February, they will pay for January and July of last year. and every month they will pay 2 months, in essence, to catch up, so that by the end of the fiscal year, we will be up, everybody will be current.
The government announced in February that it reached an agreement with gaming house operators, which would result in it collecting $35 million annually from a new sliding scale tax on net taxable revenue and $50 million from a tax on winnings as a result of lottery bets. The government stands to collect 15% on up to $24 million earned in revenue from gaming house operators and an additional 17.5% on revenue over $24 million, with a retroactive start date of January 1st, 2019. Police are investigating a shooting incident near a bar in Kemp Road that left 6 people in hospital nursing injuries. As police hunt for the individuals responsible, a lifelong area resident is defending her community against criticism that it is a hot spot for crime.
Kemp Road is a safe area. I can walk the Kemp Road 12 o'clock in the night, nobody bother me.
That was the impassioned plea of longtime Kemp Road resident Terry Sweeting, less than 48 hours after 6 people were shot just feet away from the bar she works in.
Yes, Kemp Road bar. We had gangs from growing up, but there was like people using guns and knives and all of that. It always was a gang. And
according to police, several people were standing outside a nightclub on Kemp Road shortly after midnight on Monday when the occupants of a pink Nissan March drove by, opening fire on the group. 6 people were injured. They were transported to hospital and are listed in stable condition. Well, Our News viewed security footage of the incident, which the owners refused to release. Dry bloodstains in the road mark the exact spots where they fell.
If people would come out of Kemp Road, would come in Kemp Road, it's called Kemp Road. Coming here to live, called Kemp Road.
Lynn's Liquor is no stranger to shooting incidents. 31-year-old Jacob Woodside became the first homicide victim of 2016 when he was gunned down outside the club, which was called Leedon's Sports Bar at the time. Till the coming Our News, another breakdown in talks over VSEP payouts for Grand Lucayan managers. Plus, BPL dealing with internal matters following its COO's resignation. Stay tuned.